Hey there, everyone. My name's Alice. I'm an agent in real estate agent in California, and I'm also a broker in Washington. And today I'm going to talk about the Washington Broker Reciprocity Exam. And by reciprocity, Washington State is pretty awesome in that if you're an agent in another state, you can use all that course work that you've done and that license, and you can just take the state portion of the exam if Washington State allows you, and then go get your Washington broker's license. And in California, they call them real salespeople, like agents, and in Washington, they call them brokers. So in California, if you're a broker, you're a managing broker in Washington. So that's some definitions for you. So I'm going to show you. And the reason I'm making this video is because when I did my Washington broker's reciprocity exam, there was none of this information online. So like there was no videos or any like how-tos, tutorials. I had to read like everything and all the laws. And it took me weeks to figure it out and do it right. And then there were also a lot of bugs with the testing center, and I had to literally like reach out. I called the call center 5 times. I called Washington Department of Licensing so many times. They like knew my voice. Super nice people. And then I finally got through and got able to like schedule the exam. I think they've since fixed that bug, but just like FYI, it was not Washington's fault. It was like some testing center tech problem. So I had to go read all this stuff. I also have made a course for how you can for all the study got. Well, it's a course with all the study stuff that I created for myself, and it helped me pass. So if you're interested in that, I have it all, and I'll link to that in this. And so let me go through this. So most of this stuff you already know because you're an agent, or you should be if you're watching this video, because reciprocity exam is if you're already an agent elsewhere. So if Washington State approves you to take the exam, you can go and get fingerprinted and do your background check. I have a stuffy nose today, so that's kind of unfortunate. But so the fingerprint, this is another thing that got really confusing. If you're out of state, you're not gonna be able to use like their special fingerprint state, I don't know, businesses that they have in Washington. So what I did, no one told me this too, I had to like really Google it. You can go to UPS and they do fingerprinting there to say you want a fingerprinting, and it's you want to ask for the card. So you're, as of 2024, you're gonna really just go in and put your fingerprints on like a physical card. You don't do the digital thing. But fill out this ID Go form first, and then you'll go to UPS and get that card. And that's like, I'll let you read that. But that's what I did. And then you mail it in and you make sure that you print out the form that ID Go gives you with the card. Because when I did it, I just sent the card with like the information on the card. And thank God, like they got the form. I sent it the day after. So it was all fine and it got approved. But it can take 14 days. Thankfully, for me, it took 7 days. And again, where I got tripped up was the actual like the approval. So Washington State gave me the approval in 5 days. And then that information never got sent to the testing center because there was a bug in the system. And so the testing center will have to have, and it's PSI as I'm writing this. So there's the PSI exam center. So this center has to get that information from Washington because they're going to send you like login details. So that was where I got really tripped up, and I was just waiting forever. And they're like, I think I was one of the only people to call in a bunch about this because I was like, I need to this license. I had some personal things I wanted to take care of. So once you get all that, then you can sign up for the exam, and that is the process. So that's the first leg of the journey. And then for the exam, you're probably like, okay, what do I need to study? So again, you don't need, I don't know if I haven't said this, you don't need to take a course, like a formal director that like approved course. You just need to know the state laws. But that's where the catch came in for me, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this, is the state laws are like, there's a lot of them, and they're not like too different from California, but they're enough different, and you probably like are rusty. Like I hadn't taken the real estate exam for like years. I've done like the continuing education. So you have to go in and just read this stuff. And so I made a course on this, and you can go to it at wabrokerexam.com. where I like summarize and try to make this like really easy to understand and digest. But I had to, when I studied for this, I printed out all these pages. I have like, I don't know, hundreds of pages. I printed all this out and I just highlighted and memorized. And it was just like rote memorization. Um, and I have experience selling. So if you don't have experience selling, it might be a little bit trickier because there's some questions that are like you really should, you have to think about it. Like I don't want to tell you what the question was exactly because I don't know if that's like ethical to do, but they'll be like, oh, what happens if there was like a fire? This isn't a question, but I'm giving you like a sample. There's a fire at a property, you're under contract, like what do you do? Um, so things you probably learned in your general like real estate practices and real estate principles will might come into play here, but there's also like specific questions that are just around like Washington state laws. Like how many days for this and you have to report this. Um, yeah, a lot of content. And so if you're interested, you could go here. That's not even working right now, but uh I was looking for golf villas. But let's see. Okay, so I think that's like all you need to know. And again, it's Washington WA broker exam.com if you're looking for like some study stuff. And I hope that helps you just knowing, like, I wish that this video existed, just knowing that somebody else did it. Because the only thing I found online when I like took my test was a Reddit post from 4 years ago and there were like just a couple people. So I don't even know when I made this course if anyone would buy it, but I was just like, it'd be nice if I had this. Let's see, other things to know. You know what? I'll just go into it. So when you go into the test center, and this is 2024, I'm talking about this, it's the PSI test center. So you're not going to be like just with real estate exam people. At my test center in California, I went in early and once you enter the room, they're like, take out your cell phones, put your stuff in a locker, and you can start the test early. So what I did is I walked out. I was like, I don't really want to start early. I'm going to read a few things. But then I got there and I had pages printed out. So if you have like my study guides on my course, I don't think you're going to need to do this because you'll like have the gist. But I was like just going through and then I was like, you know what? I don't even know what's going to be asked. I'm just going to go in and use like my common sense, which didn't always work because some of the questions were again like specific to days and timelines. Uh, and then you will, let's see, what happened. I went in. They'll also check to make sure you're not cheating. So they'll check your ears. And it's funny because they're checking stuff that I've never thought about. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't even think of cheating on this. Just don't cheat. Um, and they'll get your ID. So make sure to bring your ID, like your driver's license or passport. Again, you're with like a bunch of other people taking like pilot license. I don't know, but the PSI testing center is a bunch of different tests. So it's a variety of interesting people there. And then you will get a calculator. You're not going to need the calculator. I didn't need it. And you will get a scratch paper and a pencil. And my testing center also had earplugs. And then you'll sit at a computer terminal and you will do a couple like practice questions that have nothing to do with real estate. They're just like, what's the capital of this state? And just to make sure you know how to like use a computer. And then you can start your test. And you'll get 30 questions, and 5 of them are kind of, I think they're test questions that you're not going to be graded on, but that you get asked anyway. So I forgot about that, and I was like, wait, there's 35 questions. That's good because then I have like more chances of passing, and your passing grade has to be 70% or higher. So just good to know that. And then when you're done, you'll get the results right away. So you go out, you like exit everything, you go out and you ask the people for the test results. And it was so rare. I was the only one to take the Washington broker exam at this test center. The lady like she didn't really know. She's like, oh, you're the first and only one I've had since I started working here. Uh, and they'll print out the form for you, but you're not going to be able to sign up for your license until Washington State again gets that information from PSI. And then you can go register online and complete your application. And then boom, once you send it all over, if your fingerprints have already been done, which I recommend you do first, on the website, it says don't do it first. But then when I called, they said you could do your fingerprints first. So I'm just throwing a lot of info at you, but this is like the whole thing I experienced doing it. then you will like automatically get your license ID when you pay the fee. And I hope that helped. I didn't have to keep it on that all along, but that was my entire journey from to get the Washington Reciprocity broker license. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to message me and check out the course. And thanks for watching. Bye.